tell me. Yay, da, yay, da, 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 yay, da, 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 yay, da, 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 yay, da, 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 da. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom. It is a gift to be with you online, and for those of us that are here, it is a gift to be together on not just the Shabbat, but on this Chag, as we are approaching the completion of Pesach, which is amazing to me because I feel like we were just sitting around together singing the words of our Seder, and here we are coming to the end of this holiday of liberation. And I've been thinking about the fact that this year really felt like a holiday of liberation. I think for many families, finally being able to gather in a way that we just haven't been able to over the past 2 years. We would love to hear more about what your Passover was like this year, and as we're coming to the end of it, hoping that it has brought a sense of freedom and liberation in your heart and lives. Tonight for our services, Kabbalat Shabbat is omitted for the most part because we're already so elevated on the spirit of this holiday. So we simply begin with the Psalm for Shabbat, which is on page 27. And as I always love to think about, what was a moment this week that you could simply say thank you to God for? So inviting all of us to transition from the busyness of our week into the stillness of Shabbat, even though we've been in a state of Chag all day, still making a little bit of that separation for ourselves. Tov lehodot on the top of 27. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagi b'boker chasecha le'emunarcha b'leilot. Lehagi b'boker chasecha ve'emunarcha b'leilot. Hay da 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 Magadlu masachaya meyoram kumachshevotecha. Hay hay dai yada dai 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 yada dai 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 dai. Tzadik katamar yifrach yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach. Ke'erez balvanon yiske, ke'erez balvanon yiske, ke'erez balvanon yiske yiske. Ke'erez balvanon yiske, ke'erez balvanon yiske, ke'erez balvanon yiske yiske. Shetuli beidonai chosrot alchinu yifrichu. Od yenuvun b'seiva, deshenim v'rananim yiyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo hamlatabo. We turn to Psalm 93 on page 29. Bringing a melody that I've enjoyed over the years at Temple Beth Am. I've sang here a couple of times, but taking the liberty to share it again on this particular Shabbat since we don't have so much of our liturgy to share. So I hope that you enjoy this one and maybe it becomes a new part of our Or Tzion community. The Cantor Chorney, wrote this particular melody, if I am not mistaken. Adonai malach geut lavei Lavesh Adonai Ostid Chazar. Avtichon Teva Baltimot. Nachon Kisecha Meos Melamata. Nasu Nerot Adonai. Naseu Naro Kolam. Yisu Narot Chayam Mikolot Ma'im Rabim Adirim B'Mishrayam Adir Barom Adonai Adotecha Neumeon Levatecha Nave Kodesh Adonai Leorach Yamim. We take a moment to rise for the mourner's Kaddish. For those who are, how many do we have? So you tell me. We can move on. Oh, okay, great. So we've got enough. We've got a friend. We're good to go. So we'll read our list of yard sites in a moment, but I definitely wanted to acknowledge the passing of Warren D. Levine, the husband of Judith, the father of Matthew, Jonathan, and Andrew, a grandfather to 6 grandchildren who passed away this Thursday afternoon, and we are thinking of you and your entire family. Our hearts are truly with you. The mourner's Kaddish is found on page 30, so if that is you, please rise at this time as we recite those words. Yit Gedal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei zechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olmei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei zekudsha brechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'asei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. So as is the custom before we move into our Mariv service, an opportunity to hear a little Torah this week. And as we are preparing to complete our Passover, but yet continue our journey along, some words of Torah for you. And what I'm thinking about is how incredibly easy it is to miss the counting of the daily Omer. Just as essential as taking our daily vitamins or pills, yet without reminders, I'm curious how many of us would actually remember the amount of times I've already been laying in bed and will shoot up like a bolt of electricity just to be on my feet to count. In biblical times, our ancestors would harvest barley on the second day of Passover and then offer bread on the wheat harvest of Shavuot 49 days later. Today, we no longer practice these agricultural customs, but from the second night of Passover until Shavuot, our tradition still holds to the Torah's command from Vayikra. Usvartem lachem mimachorat haShabbat. You shall count for yourselves from the day after the holiday, Pesach beginning, until the day on which waved Omer offering is brought, 7 complete weeks. Until, but not including, the day after the 7th week, you shall count the 50th day, and you shall bring a new meal offering to God. That's it. Each day, count one more until 49, the 50th is Shavuot, and the holiday of receiving Torah. The super simple process of literally making a blessing And culling out a number is probably one of the easiest Jewish laws we have. And I just want to think about it for a second. We break our backs to clean our houses for Pesach. We schlep in the dishes. We get the silverware. We move the pots and pans to the garage. We vacuum parts of the sofa that absolutely need it. And then we even clean out parts of the closets that have never even seen a crumb, but just to make sure that it's all good. And then all week long, we steer completely clear of chametz, almost as if we'd break out in hives if we were to even think of any. In the fall, we go the extra mile. We build these beautiful sukkot. We commit to eating in them all holiday long. Every Shabbos, we commit to participating in Shabbat. We give tzedakah. We fast on Yom Kippur. Some of us even wake up saying the morning Shema. All of these things ask so much of us. They ask of our time. They ask of our energy. They even ask for our planning. But this tiny request, simply calling out a number, it seems so futile. What good could a calling out a number have, and why is it so hard to remember? For most exciting things in our lives, we have countdowns. The seniors at Hebrew High and here in our community and all over have had countdowns to graduation longer than most of us even realize. Most kids in our community and teachers probably have their countdowns to summer camp, of course, the beloved countdown to a wedding. I'd say some of us count down to children arriving, but after my first child was 2 weeks late, and I had 0 became a -1 and a -2, some things we just have to wait in anticipation for. But all these events are countdowns, but not our Omer. It's a count up. In my search for a better understanding, I read many articles that mentioned when we count down, we focus on how long we have to go, causing our relationship to even seem dreadful, or as if we're waiting until we've reached that goal to live on with our lives. The space between comes a bit of a limbo. I can't live my fullest or best because I'm waiting for that moment to happen in the future. Another common view of counting down is that it leads to a 0, which is lonely and reflects nothing, as if to say, we've arrived, now what? But I love what Rabbi Joel Seltzer of Haaretz magazine brings to light, which is the debate between Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai over Hanukkah candles. If you recall, the House of Shammai suggests that we should start with 8 candles and work our way down each night, whereas Hillel holds the opposite. You start with 1 and you grow to 8. Neither of them offering why. But Rabbi Seltzer explains that 500 years later, an Amoraic rabbi of the Talmud named Rav Yossi Bar Zavida offered his own interpretation as to their reasoning. And he explains that the House of Shammai decides to count down because that's the nature of the number of sacrifices listed in the book of Bamidbar, decreasing each day of the given festival. But the House of Hillel, on the other hand, bases its practices of counting up on the rabbinic precept of Ma'alin Bakodesh Va'irin Va'ain Moridin, that the matters of holiness we should always ascend, we should never descend. In other words, it's always better to count up towards something great and not to count down to the inevitable 0. So counting up helps us elevate the spirit of this mitzvah. We don't count down as if we're waiting, but rather each day builds on the next, adding value to our new courtship with God, a precursor to us agreeing on the terms that when the day comes, we will willingly accept Torah and God will keep us, something that freshly freed slaves would not have been able to do. But this still doesn't answer the question of why it's so easy to forget the simple yet incredibly holy act. Because it may just be that on a regular basis we struggle to recognize the impact of one day. $1. One smile, one healthy eating day. But if we step back and have one day every day, one every day, it amounts to transformation. There's a story in the Talmud where Rabbi Akiva is walking by a cave and he sees a large stone and it has a hole in it. And he looks up and he notices that a small drop of water has been dropping onto this stone probably for centuries at that point, hundreds of years, realizing that one single drop every little moment has made a huge hole in this stone. The teaching is it's from that Rabbi Akiva began to learn Torah, one drop at a time. So what if we started to notice the impacts of our days a little bit more? What if we allowed our counting up to help us see just how much every day matters? It might just be that in the end, this counting wasn't just a blessing towards the destination, but rather a blessing for the process, one counted day at a time. Shabbat Shalom. We begin our Mari service with our community online, our friends here in Shul. We are at the Baruch Hu at page 39. Please rise. Yai nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Hi hi hi. Yana nai 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 nai. Baruchu et Adonai havorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Yana nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Yana nai 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 nai. Hi hi hi. Yana nai 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 nai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bara maravi maravi marach lebarim shamim and Umavir yom umevin laila umavdil ben yom laila Adonai tzevaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimochel le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hamari v'aravim. Page 40. Avat olam Beit Yisrael amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochveinu uv'komeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nisma b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisroel. The words of the Shema are on page 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך וחיית. You shall gather grain in your wine in your will. Bind them as a sign upon your hands, fall on your eyes, teach them to your children. תזכרו ועשיתם מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We turn to Mikamocha on 44. ובמלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות הוסף אל מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר ים לפני משה זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאליו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Hashkivenu on 45. Let's read it in English because it's such a hope. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel and save us from the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove us from enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and for peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. We turn to the Vishamru on page 46 and we rise. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה עולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבה בי נפש. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל. We prepare ourselves for the Amidah. The Festival Amidah will be found on page 306. It's notated at the bottom of that page, with remembering to add our Pesach insertions for ourselves at that time, bringing ourselves into that place of inner peace, preparing to speak in our own silence with the divine. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabba be'alma Divrach yutei v'yamlich Malchutei b'chayeichon uvyom echon ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ומעלמא יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתשומע וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירה וימה ויאמרו Amen. Turning to 306 for our festival Amidah, for a private, personal, quiet time with the divine. Read it all. ונשמחה חגים וספנים לששון ושתפל הצווי יומך גם הזאת וזאת זמן חירותנו ויבוא מקרא קודש אחר לציון מצרים אלוהינו ולהביא אבותינו מתינו וגרם ירצון צורכים בלילה Oh, Jesus, what did I have some pain? What did I have? Oh, I'm going to make a taste of Shabbat. I'm spending it. Nu say shalom bimromav, say shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'yakol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Kaddish Shalem is on 54 with a little holiday vibe. Yitkadav ve'yikadash shemei Rabbi b'yam dirach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachon u'v'yom echon u'chayeduch u'beit Yisrael v'galau v'zman karib v'imeru amen. Yehishmi Rabba mevorach le'olam ame'yamaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei l'kudesh aprechu le'elam micho birchata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechamata tamirat v'yamah v'imeru amen. Tikavel tonu avochodecho kadam Yisrael kadam avocho and divishmaya v'imeru amen. Yeheshlama Rabba Mishamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom v'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. We are going to take a moment to remember those who are in need of healing at this time. So this is our moment to gather in our hearts and spirits and send out all the love to those who are in need of healing. Mi shebeirach avoteinu Mekor haberecha le'imotenu. Must those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We're thinking about Yitzchak Ben Gittel, Ellen Bresnick, Warren Levine, Tom Wigand, Doris Link, Stevie Green, Zachariah Bat Sarah, Batya Rivka Bat Sufia, Yafia Bat Label, Pat Zlotnick. We're thinking about John Granick and AJ White. We're sending love to Gilvan Order and Leah Bat Zivia Vechisa, and Esther Bat Batya Yaakov, Aviva Chana Bat Tova Tikva V'chaim Melech, sending our love to Marty Cohen and Iris Granick and Pat Schenker, and Leib Aaron Ben Moshe Ve'eda, Victoria Bat Pesha, Leo Bat Reuben V'Fredel, Phyllis Weinstein, David Ben Leah, Yehudit Ben Chana, Terry and Adam LaFrance, Eliyahu Ben Shoshana, Mayor David Ben Brindle. We're thinking of Betty Hirsch and Shalom Ben Pesel, Chaim Michael Ben Yitzchak V'Yochaved, Eliyahu David Ben Yehudit Chana, Irene Martin and Brian Perlman, and Shira Bat Chaya Moshe and Chaya Chosel Bat Zavora. We're thinking of Anna Boardman and Chaya Bat Zrella, Rafaela Chaim Ben Sylvia, Froma Elka Bat Arya Lev, Esther Rachel, Roberta Lipsman, Sarah Vida Bat Esther, Perla Bat Chaya Esther, Barak Ben Bracha, and any additional names and those who are in need of that love. We have them with you, with our hearts right now, praying for their full, complete healing. Mi shebeirach imotenu Mekor haberecha le'avotenu. May the source of strength, who has blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Blessings for a complete healing. Let us not forget, it is time to count the Omer. So please rise. We are going to look to page 63. Is that correct? Did I do this right? Yes, I did, in fact. I learned also that you never say, what day are we counting? Because you never know where they are in their counting and if that might count as a blessing for them. So you say, what day was it yesterday? What did we just do recently? And then that shall help lead us into our next bracha. So yesterday was 6. So I'm about to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it is written in the Torah, the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haOmer. Today, hayom shiv'a yamim shehem shavua echad laOmer. Today is 7 days, 1 week of the Omer. If you're interested, you can look in our Siddur Sim Shalom that it gives each week its own intention. There's some other wonderful resources, again, for adding to the values of counting every single day. We continue to stand as we turn to page 56 for Aleinu together. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, l'tei gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu ki gwei haratzot, velo samanu ki mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kaham, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. We take a moment for reflection of those whose memories live on with us eternally in their yard sites. First, wanting to mention again, we all mourn the passing of Warren D. Levine, the husband of Judith, father of Matthew, Jonathan, and Andrew, a grandfather to 6 grandchildren as he passed away on Thursday. May you know comfort in his memory, and may it be for a blessing. We remember today Hans Speer, father of Barbara Helfgott, Betty Lozer, mother of Ken Fuller, Charlotte Starr, sister of Louis Shapiro, Simon Vidra, father of Edith Ginsburg, Alvin Weinstein, brother of Francis Lipsman, Joe Barenbaum, father of Michael Barenbaum, Ralph Goodman, father of Murray Goodman, Roz Goodell, mother of David Goodell, Bill Feist, brother of Lynn Barenbaum, David Weingast, father of Jeremy Weingast, Edward Phillips, brother of Sherry Konevsky, Melvin Naden, father-in-law of Jerome Glazer and grandfather of Sarah Bernstein, Sarah Rochelle Ward, mother of Paul Ward. We remember Bonnie Rapport, mother of Beth Hoffman, David Smith, father of Heather Fiegelman, Rose Ansel, sister-in-law of Marvin Ansel, Ruth Krasno, mother of Renee Feinberg, and grandmother of Julie Seifert, Michael Feinberg, and Linda Weiss. We remember Marion Hull, mother of Kimberly Late and mother-in-law of Charlotte Late, Morton Petlik, father of Julie Feinstein, and Harriet Goodman, sister of Larry Seaman. The mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 58. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bialma Divrach Yerutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chayei Techol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uv'izman Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Omei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kudsha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran bi'alma bi'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. We have some announcements. And a quick hello, we see Robert Young, Stephanie Jacobson, and hopefully Yosef and Ami and Ibi are with you. Myra Alpert, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. I hope everybody's had a wonderful week of Passover as we complete our Passover tonight and tomorrow. Rabbi Funky, thank you very much for leading us in services tonight. And Nikki, thank you so much for your technical assistance. Tomorrow morning, 9:30, we will have Shabbat and the last day of festival services, which also will include Yisker services. So hope you will join us at that time. A reminder, if you have an auction item that you've not picked up yet, please pick it up in the office during regular office hours. Join us this Wednesday night for Yom HaShoah commemoration. I received my yellow candle in the mail today. We'll light those candles and have a commemoration on this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Next Friday, lots going on. Next Friday at 5 p.m., bring your children, your grandchildren for our Young Family Shabbat. That's at 5 o'clock with Rabbi Green, and at 6 o'clock during our regular Shabbat services, we'll be celebrating our Or Tzion High School seniors preparing for graduation. It's also Nashira next Friday night, correct?
Yes.
So a musical Shabbat as well. May 1st, Socialites Sunday in the Park brunch at Chaparral Park, and the Or Tzion cookbook is available. If you haven't ordered it yet, you can still order it online. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.
Are people supposed to bring their yard site candles to the event on Wednesday? Do you know?
No, you light your yellow.
You're gonna light it. You're
candle
gonna light it home.
At home.
Okay, so there'll be a lighting here.
There'll be a
and
lighting here, right,
at
Nikki?
home.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you,
All right,
Rabbi.
great. We are going to bring in the festival Shabbat Kiddush, which is found on page 79. Please rise. And something I always love to think about as we do this, what did you make this week? What did you create this week that you can stand back and say, wow, I got to be a part of that act of creation, and now I will sit and relish in it. Let me make sure I get the right one here. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romemanu milachol hashon v'kitzanu b'mitzvotav v'atitin lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava Shabbatot lemenucha umodim l'simcha chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom haShabbat hazeh ve'et yom chag hamazot hazeh Zman chirutenu be'ava mikra kodesh lezecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kitashta mikol hamim v'shabbat modei kodshecha be'ava uvratzon b'simcha v'sason chinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat beYisrael v'hazmanim l'chaim. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Chag Sameach. See you